Okay. Good evening and welcome back to our book club meeting, Bringers of the Dawn. Today's the 26th of March, 2025, and we'll be discussing chapter 15, which is called Earth's Initiation Through Integrity. But as usual, before we do that, we are going to have our short meditation to set everything just right for the energies to flow. And let's just begin that now. So I would encourage you to sit comfortably in your normal meditation posture, preferably with the feet crossed and the hands together, sitting comfortably on your lap. You may close your eyes and take a deep breath in and out. And another deep breath in and out. Now let us watch the breath as it flows naturally in and out in its normal rhythm. Place the focus of your attention on the breath without controlling the breath. If any thoughts come through, just don't pay them your attention. Keep your attention focused on the breath. Hey, friends, let us complete the meditation in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Please place the palms of your hands on your eyes. And after a few seconds, open your eyes and look into your palms. Okay. So, Um, as I mentioned, we're going to be discussing chapter 15 in Bringers of the Dawn, and it's called Earth's Initiation Through Integrity. So I'm going to, as usual, read um, passages from the chapter and discuss whatever seems to come up through intuition. So the Pleiadians say, this beautiful earth is a treasure so profound and so magnanimous that it draws those from far in space to come cherish the beauty that is here. We want you to feel that beauty inside yourselves and let it pulsate within your own beings. As you allow this beauty to come into you, it will move you profoundly. And you will begin as a species to command that the beautification of Earth become the first priority for all. We want to seed this idea into you so that you awaken to your responsibility to Earth. We have awakened within you the responsibility to yourselves, and you are on the road to becoming the best that you can be. We congratulate you. Now, what are you going to do for Earth, and how are you going to do it? We have taught you to command the best for yourself in all possible moments. Since Earth is your home, how are you now going to extend this energy to Earth and affect this planet with what you know? So, these are me talking. These are age-old questions that people have been thinking about, obviously, for a long time. Some of us more so than others. So I do appreciate this thought. Let me move on. Pleiadians say, when Earth is in jeopardy and humanity has pushed things too far, Earth will do whatever is necessary to teach the human species about the proper care of its home, in order for you as the inhabitants to learn a bigger lesson. In divine love of humanity and divine acceptance of its role as teacher, Earth will teach you about its own secrets and power so that you can understand how to walk with cooperation and love of Earth and not walk with disrespect. Mm-hmm. There's another sentence here that says, Earth is teaching human beings responsibility by allowing you to create disruption upon its surface and into its interior. So we get the idea that Earth is motherly like, and it allows us, the children, to do many things, including things like disrespecting its surface. But we're also told that we need to understand how to walk with cooperation and love for the earth and not disrespect it because it is our home. And where else do we have? We don't have somewhere else to go. We're staying right here. So it's best to respect our home. Okay, the Pleiadians say when human beings make quality of life the number one priority in their lives by honoring the quality of Earth's life, there will be very few Earth changes upon this planet. However, most humans, particularly in the Western world, are concerned with a very different quality of life. How many electronic devices they own, and how many clothes are in their closet, how many cars are in their garages. They are not at all connected to the effects of all this material manufacturing on the sentient being that is your parent. This paragraph is really amazing, I think. Um, Earth is identified as a sentient being. We're told that Earth is our parent. And we're also told that when we make the quality of life number one priority by honoring the quality of Earth's life, then everything is in harmony. Earth will be in harmony with humans, humans will be in harmony with Earth. It's hinted here that natural disasters on a on a grand scale may not happen much under these conditions. However, if we don't take care of the planet and we only think of ourselves, then that may not be true anymore. I think it's interesting that the book was channeled around the year 1990. So, um, right about 33 to 35 years ago. And not much has changed. They talk about how we're concerned with how many clothes we have, how many cars we have, and how many electronic devices we own. And the electronic devices thing just keeps going more and more and more. I know in my family, we have a lot more electronic devices now than we did 30 years ago. And so it seems like we're going in that direction more. Okay, let me move on. The Pleiadians say if human beings do not change, if they do not make this shift in values and realize that without Earth, they could not be here, then Earth, in its love for its own initiation and its reaching for a higher frequency, will bring about a cleansing that will balance it once again. There is the potential for many people to leave the planet in an afternoon. Maybe then everyone else will begin to wake up to what's going on. There have been events all along stimulating you, encouraging you, and bringing you the realization that there must be global change. There are grassroots movements that are going to grow phenomenally. And when that happens, what happens to Earth depends on how willing everyone is to change. What is your responsibility in this? And how willing are you to change? The time has come not to just talk about it, but to do it. As you commit to change in your own life, you automatically make the change available to the entire planet. Earth is striving for its integrity. The planet feels at this time deprived of its integrity, dishonored, and unloved. Earth loves you and gives you a place to operate. It is a living organism. Earth is about to reestablish its integrity and let you understand the importance of loving yourself by loving Earth. Love yourself and love Earth because they are the same. So, more great information here, more nuggets of wisdom. Um, Earlier on in the passage, it was talked about that if we humans don't make the shift in values and realize how important our Earth is and have more respect for Earth and even love the Earth because the Earth loves us, it's our mother, right? Then the Earth might have to make some changes to look out for itself. And this reminds me of stories that we've heard that, you may have heard of stories about what happened in ancient times when uh, the continent of Atlantis was destroyed or the continent of Mu was destroyed. These were vast geological events that happened, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, massive flooding. It's the stuff of legend, of course, but it probably has some truth to it. There's certainly evidence of truth for the lost continent of Atlantis and Mu. So you can dig around and find it. It's out there on the internet. Um, but it makes you wonder a little bit about why those continents did um, perish. And was it just a natural sort of scientific event that had to happen, or was there more to it? Kind of like what the Pleiadians are saying here. If we don't look out for the Earth, who will? The Earth might have to look out for itself. And yeah. So there's also the idea that um, we should love ourselves and love the Earth because they're the same. What we are and what the Earth is the same. And if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense because everyone here has a body, a physical body, and you can ask yourself, where did it come from? Well, it came from everywhere, right? It came from all over the planet. It was assimilated through a variety of mechanisms, biological assimilation, but it took someone to eat some food and it took biological processes and the food had to grow out in the fields and there's air and water and soil and all the natural elements and conditions that nourish it. It's all earth, all of it. So everything that is physical about our beings comes from this Mother Earth. So we are one indeed with the planet. And don't think too much that the body belongs to you because the body came from the earth and it belongs to the earth, right? So this is wise thoughts to think about. Okay. The Pleiadians say there are technologies that could clean this place up very quickly if that were the plan. However, as the species at present does not take responsibility for Earth, there would be no point. No point in what? In cleaning it up. The present species must learn to honor its nest. All of you must learn to honor your bodies because without your bodies, you would not be here. And without Earth, you would not be here. Your body and your planet are your two greatest gifts and the most valuable things you own. Ideally, you would express a sacredness and honoring and cherishing and love of Earth and your physical being. This would resonate in your home, your property, and the land you are associated with, in the land of your body as well. Earth is more resilient than you would imagine. It is here to feed you and sustain you. The animals are also here to work in cooperation with you. If everything is done with love, it has the force of the creator behind it. Done with love, there would be no hurt and no harm. If you need a guide to make decisions about your behavior, ask yourself, am I operating with my highest integrity? Am I operating with love? Is love my intention for Earth, the animals, all the people I encounter, and all the things I do? Hmm. These are really, really great questions to be asking ourselves in any situation, I think. Um, if we do remember that Earth is here to support us and the animals are here to support us, and we look upon everyone, including not just our fellow humans, but the animals, the plants, the land, the water, the air, everything with love, we would naturally have a great respect for it and do the best we can to take care of it. There would be no question about it whatsoever. It's hard sometimes in the middle of the day to stop and say, am I operating with love? But I think it's worth making the effort to do that. I think it's worth it because if we ask that question, it grounds us. It grounds us in where we need to be and where we want to be in this love frequency. And love, what I mean by love right now is the interconnectedness of all things. Okay. That's what I mean by it when I talk about it. And I think the Pleiadians would agree. It's a knowingness that everything is connected and there's not a separate entity here and a separate entity there, but that we're all together one. And when we stop and we ask ourselves, am I operating with love? We're automatically gearing the mind to look out not only for ourselves, but for all of those around us. Okay. Acting selflessly is a way to act with love. And it's certainly not the most easy thing to do. That's why many people don't do it. It's hard. It's hard to do that. It's hard to act selflessly because we're not programmed for it. I catch myself acting with love, and sometimes I say, wow, it's so difficult to do this. But then I remember it's worth doing. There's a reason to do it. It's worth doing. Okay, let me continue. The Pleiadians say everything of Earth can be used if Earth is loved and honored in the process. It may be difficult to imagine a gang of oil workers before they set the bit into the ground, holding hands and asking for guidance and permission to penetrate Earth. Yet, if this were done, things would be much more in harmony. You laugh because you deem it foolishness to communicate to something that does not talk back. But if industry, educators, and all people first stopped and committed to the highest integrity and love for all involved, and asked that there be no harm to Earth or humans, it would be phenomenally received. This would put into motion the plan for a high civilization. Such awareness is beginning to come. Many people are getting this kind of information at this time. So I think it's important, even on a smaller scale, to act like this. I don't like to modify nature. I live in a place where I've got a lot of trees on my land, and I don't like to modify them. I love the natural environment. But once in a while, there'll be a reason for somebody, and usually it's not me, but somebody will say, we got to cut this tree, and I'll resist, and I'll say, no, it's not happening. But then I see the reasons behind it, and if it's really, really a good reason, like, safety is involved, then we have to. And so I've been in this situation before where I had a tree that was struck by lightning, and it was kind of dying slowly, and branches were falling off of it and hitting the ground at odd times, and it was a safety issue. The tree was coming down in pieces anyway, and I realized I had to get it cut down as much as I didn't want to. So I did ask the tree for permission to cut it down, and I stood there for a while and tried to communicate with the tree non-verbally and send the tree love. And yeah, then we cut it down. And we didn't have any problems cutting it down. It was a very, very large tree. It was very close to the house. We could have had an accident easily, but we didn't, and it went well. So I think communicating with other living organisms when you're about to affect them in a profound way is very wise. It's very wise. Okay, let me continue on. The Pleiadians say, never feel that your efforts are in vain. Use the power of your mind to clearly intend what you want. Ask for assistance from the non-physical realms and visualize the outcome you would like to have. Understand that you create your reality and that every other person creates their reality. Everyone has the opportunity to wake up at any time. When you approach anything, approach it from the bigger picture. Now, this is a really interesting passage. I love it because it talks about how we create our reality. And I very much agree that this is true. But I do want to remind people that while we are all responsible for creating our own reality, many times what we're doing is we're creating a reality together. Many times we're not operating independently of others, but we're all creating our reality together. And everything is really intertwined. What I do affects other people, and what other people do affects me. And sometimes I can't create my reality as I would like it if I don't have a cooperation from someone. If I have an idea that I want to do something with another person, well, that person needs to agree or it's not happening, right? So we're co-creators. I like to think of ourselves as co-creators of our own reality, and we cooperate with others to make reality what it is for us at this time. Okay, let me continue. The Pleiadians say, when enough people create their own reality, consciously create it, you will create a new planet. There will literally be a splitting of worlds. This splitting will more than likely not occur for more than 20 years. In the meantime, Earth will more than likely be ravaged by war quite a few times. You will have some very puzzling and confusing space dramas take place with some space cousins who need to figure out quite publicly who they are. Okay. Earth is on a dimensional collision course, and many dimensions or probabilities will intersect one another in this decade. Some of these realities will be shocking, depending upon the level of shock each person needs to kick their consciousness into another paradigm. Shock does not mean destruction necessarily. It can simply be a method to alter the way you view reality. Whenever you are shocked by something, you can no longer grip reality the way you gripped it the moment before. There's an instantaneous kick in the stomach and everything changes. The world is in for numerous shocks and not simply on a national level. We are talking about global intersections of dimensions by which realities will seem to come tumbling down, only for those whose realities need to crumble. Dimensional collision course. I sometimes feel like we have a connection to these other dimensions that are referenced through feeling states. This is difficult to put into words because we're all locked onto a physical dimension, including time. But if you've ever, I think in this book prior, there were some examples given about going to special places on the earth, like particularly religious places or the pyramids, for example, in Egypt, and getting a feeling, very vast and amazing feeling when you're in a place like that. That's one way to know that you're connected to another dimension. So the Pleiadians talk a lot here in this paragraph, and I don't think I want to say much more about it than that. Let me continue on. The Pleiadians say the concept of probabilities maintains that there is no one reality, and that you yourselves branch off into other realities continuously through your thoughts. It is not that you change the world, it is that you change the world you occupy. This goes back to the idea that the world is not solid. It is constructed of energy, and that energy takes form through the thoughts of those that participate within the world. So this is the more clarification that I think we need. Um, and it's more details about how we create our own reality, how our world can change when we change our thoughts about it, because everything is energy, including matter. And matter isn't as solid as we think it is. There's actually a lot of space in between the molecules in solids, a lot of space. So we can always choose again, I think is the message here. We can always choose differently. The present moment is as it is, and everything in the present moment is really a result of what we've chosen so far through our thoughts. And if we don't like something or we want to create something different, we just choose again. And the world changes. So the exterior is a reflection of the interior. Okay, let me continue. The Pleiadians say there are and there always have been probable Earths and probable experiences. There are probable yous leading quite different lives than the you know. You are frequency and energy. You are pulsating to the beat of a chord of energy that sings you into existence. And you are so familiar with it that you stay focused continuously on one aspect of your experience. Experience is gained from many perspectives, and you are learning how to change the frequency and beat so you can notice what you usually do not notice. Yeah. It's more this passage is more about the potentiality of what we are. What is our potential? We have a lot of potential. And it's trying to get us to see what our potential is. We have a lot of potential to choose different paths, to do different things, to have different impacts. So keep in mind, your choices are wide open and fairly unlimited, I would say. Okay, let me continue. The Pleiadians say it is difficult to explain, but to a certain extent, because it is beyond the third dimensional experience, basically you are moving into the fourth dimension. When this move is made, you will literally form a new earth. It will seem as if you have awoken from a dream into a world that is pristine and beautiful. Your skies are full of observers watching and waiting to see how you will do this and offering to give you assistance in doing it. For many people, it seems as if this shift is completely beyond all possibility, but not for you who have studied this energy as alchemists and ancient Atlanteans in temple life. The training you have had in other times is encoded within your beings to prepare you for this juncture. Mhm. So I want to come back to a point in this passage where they say, it will seem as if you have awoken from a dream into a world that is pristine and beautiful. Have you ever had that experience where suddenly everything around is just pristine and beautiful, and you wouldn't argue to change anything at all? You're just so aware of the beauty of everything as it is that you understand its perfection. These are amazing moments. I'm sure you've had them. The Pleiadians describe this as being in the fourth dimension. So even if you're not always there, you've probably been there at time. So think about that as an example of existing in another dimension. Okay, let me continue. The Pleiadians say the people who leave the planet during the time of Earth changes do not fit here any longer, and they are stopping the harmony of Earth. When the time comes that perhaps 20 million people leave the planet at one time, there will be a tremendous shift in consciousness for those who are remaining. When a large group passes over together, they create an impact upon the consciousness of those who remain. Expand yourselves. Begin to dwell in other realities besides the reality that is work and sleep and eating. When you are awake, let your mind expand to possibilities and let ideas come to you. Ideas are free, they are everywhere, and they are broadcasts continuously coming to the planet. When Earth does its shifting, not everyone will experience the same thing. Those who need to experience destruction will experience an Earth shift or rotation with destruction because they will not fit with the new frequency. Those who are prepared to hold a higher vibration will experience a frequency shift. So for one person, there may be the end of their life as they know it and dire destruction, while for another, there will be a state of ecstasy. All potentials exist. Remember, you live in a symbolic world that is a result of your thoughts. The outside world represents to you what is going on internally with you. So if the world is falling apart, what does that represent? It represents the falling apart or collapsing of what is inside in order to create the rise of a new system and a new energy. So these are wise words again. Whenever we see destruction, and chaos, and it's hard to understand why these things are happening on a grand scale. And I'll go back to the example of the fires in Los Angeles that were very vast and big and destroyed a lot of property. I'm not sure how many people were killed, but some were. Um, but it's just devastating, and you see it on a grand scale, and you wonder, why is this happening? Well, the Pleiadians are giving us an interesting answer. They're saying, so if the world is falling apart, what does that represent? It represents the falling apart or collapsing of what is inside in order to create the rise of a new system and a new energy. So it's not just something outside that's collapsing and being destroyed. Simultaneously, something inside is collapsing and being destroyed. And it's making room or space for something new to grow and take its place. It's making space for a change. That's interesting. That's an interesting way of looking at things. There's also a sentence here in this passage where they say, remember, you live in a symbolic world that is the result of your thoughts. What does that mean? We live in a symbolic world. So everything's a symbol, right? A symbol stands for something. A symbol is a proxy for something, right? Think about what that means. Are you a body? Or is the body a symbol of what you are? That's two different things. Many people believe that they're a body. That's getting off track. If you see the body as a symbol for what you are, that's truer. Okay. What other symbols do we have? Lots of them. Everything's a symbol, right? Everything. I can think about food. I can think about something like an orange. And oh, it's an orange. This is an orange. I call it an orange. I don't think of it as a symbol, but it is. This is a symbol of love. It's coming from planet Earth through a living organism, a plant. The sun shone on that plant lovingly. The rain rained on that plant lovingly. The plant assimilated that love and produced this gift to us. And we lovingly accept the gift and we eat it and it becomes a part of us. And now we have that love within after we've eaten it. And we've enjoyed it, and many times we don't think of it that way. And we say, oh, yeah, that was great. I really love oranges. I like eating oranges, right? But these oranges are symbols of love from the earth to us. How are we giving love back to the earth? Lots of things are symbols. I can give more examples, and I'll give one more example. Every word we say is a symbol. It stands for something. It has a meaning, right? A word is just, I say lots of words right now, but each word is a vibration in the air. And that vibration is a symbol, which stands for a certain kind of a meaning that I'm trying to convey. But the words are symbols and they're proxies for the meaning. So so it's really interesting to think that, we live in a symbolic world that's a result of our thoughts. It's so true. It's amazing. Okay, let me continue on. The Pleiadians say it is imperative for you to love and bless the changes within. Within society, and not move into fear or anxiety about what is presenting itself. It is your task to be in the vibration of knowing, even without sense, that in every event there is an opportunity for spirit to do its work and to uplift. You are an exceptionally lazy species. Now, I'm going to stop there and say I 100% agree with that. I can be very, very lazy. My hobby is doing nothing, so I'm not offended at all. Okay, let me continue. The Pleiadians say you are an exceptionally lazy species. You give your power away to anyone who will do things for you, whether it is your boss or your wife or your husband. You give your power away over and over again. In order to turn you toward yourselves, you need some events to put you in charge of your lives. Bless these changes that come to Earth, and in these events, trust that what you want with clarity will manifest. You will find yourself tested, and you will say, am I a victim here? Is the world collapsing around me? Or is it uplifting itself around me while everything is seemingly in the midst of collapse? Mhm. I'll just go back to this one phrase that says, trust that what you want with clarity will be manifest. I have a lot of trust that things will manifest according to how I would like to have them manifest because I believe it to be true. And the power of belief is very, very large indeed. And I have found that things generally manifest in ways that are agreeable for me. It takes time, okay? We don't expect something to manifest in a second, okay? It generally doesn't happen like that. If we're willing to give space and allow for time, manifestation can occur. That's been my experience. If we're patient and we trust and we realize that we're not separate from anything and that everything is connected, then the universe responds and it manifests the thing that we need at the right time, of course. We may not agree about the time scale. We might have said I could have had that 6 months ago. But it happens when it happens. Okay, let's continue here. The Pleiadians say an important primary belief for you to hold is that you will be in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. Intending that you will be in the right place at the right time, and more than intending it, but knowing it, will open you to guidance. Perhaps without even looking for it, a piece of land or an opportunity to connect with someone else will be put before you, and you will recognize it and say, "This is for me. I shall take this." So let's always remember we are in the right place at the right time, even if it doesn't seem to be so. Pleiadians say, believe it or not, there will come a time, or let us say, there could come a time in many of your lives when you will shut the door on life as you now know it. Literally, you may give up the house that you have, and you may walk out of it with only a few possessions. It does not seem possible now, does it? Something inside of you will say, my God, has the world gone mad? What are my values? What is the most important thing now for my survival? And Spirit will come in and guide you to tell you what is the most important thing for your survival. And that may mean simply carting off a few possessions. Some of you in this life will literally stand on the threshold of your houses, look within, and it will all be meaningless because the most important things will be your spiritual values and your life. And all of those material possessions and collections of things mean nothing in light of what you are becoming. Can you imagine the events that will be needed to move you to that action? They're not going to be small events. I love that passage. I think it's got lots of potential of truth in it, and we'll see how it evolves for everyone. Everyone can think about that themselves. I think it's very personal. Um, Let me just read another passage here that talks about technology. Pleiadians say the major stumbling block of technology now in use on this planet is that it is used to separate, manipulate, and control people rather than to uplift them. Technology with love is the key. So if we want to make a difference in the world, let's use the technology in a loving way and not in a manipulative way. And now I'll read the final passage in this chapter that I want to read. The Pleiadians say part of the evolution of consciousness involves uniting one consciousness with another, not keeping yourselves separated. Perhaps one person will come up with an idea and another one will take the idea and put it into manifestation, and someone else will sell it. And as we see it, there will be a tremendous underground market for inventions. These inventions will never be shown in the traditional marketplace because you would be wiped out, snuffed, if it was known that you had these abilities. There will be great trading from one community to another of these underground technologies that will do all kinds of things for you. It can be one of the most rewarding experiences of this lifetime for you to live in cooperation with a group of people who love the land and get the land, the earth, to respond. In loving the land and letting earth know what you are after, earth will nurture and take care of you. That is the key. So in this final passages, there's just a couple of points I kind of want to hit on. Um, they mentioned that part of the evolution of consciousness involves uniting consciousnesses together, realizing that we aren't separate, but indeed we come from a state in unity. Um, that's a grand idea, and it's an ideal to strive for. And then the other point that they make is being with others who love the land and understand the earth, and basically communicating with the earth. And if we act in that way, earth will nurture us and take care of us. Keeping in mind the earth is a sentient being. We've come from the earth like we come from a mother. And if we view it like that, there's no reason this earth can't stay here nurturing people for a future that goes on and on and on. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 15, Earth's initiation through integrity. And if anyone has questions, we could open it to questions or comments or any observations, or if I missed a passage you really wanted to read, you can point it out. Sirisha, yes, hi.
Yeah, hi James. Yeah, I would like to share some views, like a few paragraphs that you did not cover. Mainly,
Sure.
uh, consciousness of unity includes all the kingdoms: mineral kingdom, plant kingdom, animal kingdom, and human kingdom. So, and separate in different paragraphs, they mentioned about the animals too. So, animals has a consciousness, and some animals are extinguished from the planet Earth, means their purpose is done. So, I would like to share little about that. You mentioned about the Atlantis also, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I was fascinated about Atlantis, so I read books and I follow podcast and I watch the Ancient Apocalypse by uh, Ancient Apocalypse. So the series, entire series. So the and I one of the book I would like to mention that Diana Cooper Discover Atlantis.
Ah, okay. That looks very interesting.
Yeah, this Diana Cooper is also one of the galactic member. So she channels and she wrote 30 plus books all about this. So this total Discover Atlantis about why Atlantis collapsed, what was the life in the Atlantis, so all those information. Even that book also mentions about the animals and all. So each animal has their own purpose. So planet Earth is nothing but not just humans. It is a collective consciousness of all the kingdoms. So this PSSM is meant for that. So Patriji main is purpose of incarnation is to save the animal kingdom, because if animal kingdom was not survived, planet Earth was gone. Just like how 12,500 years ago Atlantis was because of the uh, flood, right? So
Right, right. Hmm.
if now animals are not survived, then again that may repeat the pattern. So that's why Patriji emphasize if you meditate or don't meditate, but you don't have a right to kill the animal. His main purpose is to save the animal kingdom. So that's why he more on vegetarianism. This whole PSS movement is about to whatever this chapter to save the Mother Earth, to improve the expand the consciousness of humanity along with Mother Earth. Not just Mother Earth, just humanity. I mean, that's what in the chapter mentioned, right?
Yeah,
They're nothing but Mother Earth. Mother Earth is nothing but we.
yeah. It's a
Yeah.
really good point you make there, that we have to include the animals when we talk about what Mother Earth is, because it's the planet is everything, and the animals are so important on the planet, and they are sentient beings, and we do need to respect them, and we do need to give them our love and attention. Um, I have pets, and pets are special, right? Because they're special animals that live with you, and they give love and they receive love, and that's great. But even the wild animals, they serve a great purpose. And I love to observe wild animals. Like I said, in my yard, I have a lot of trees, and one of the trees died recently, And in almost no time, it seems like this tree turned from a living green tree into a dead old rotten tree. And this process happened in about a year. And I have a woodpecker who over the winter came over and just bored this amazing hole in this tree and now sits in the tree every day singing and chirping, especially in the morning. And it's so fun to go watch this woodpecker. It's so joyful just sitting there singing, and I'm thinking, I'm so happy I didn't chop down this tree because, well, it's not what I usually do. I love nature as it is. So, other people who would say, "Oh, I got to get rid of this dead tree. It's not doing anything for me. It's ugly." But I leave it there and the animals love it and they make a home out of it. And then I can enjoy the animals because I see them every day now. So there's lots and lots of good reasons to enjoy the animals. And like you said, not to eat the animals, right? I mean, um,
And because not to
this is
kill the
very
animal.
harsh. This is very harsh, right? Yeah, you got to kill the animal if you're going to eat it. And the way that we do things nowadays is nobody's asking the animals for permission to kill them. It's done in such an inhumane way, without any love at all. And no one really thinks at all about these animals. And it's if you thought about it much, you just wouldn't do it. And this is part of the problem is there's such an ignorance about, what goes into this animal product that people go in the store and buy. They don't even give it a second thought about, what went into that and the inhumanity that was part of the process. And so I I I I hope that people think more about that as time goes by, and that there is a change needed to bring more and more vegetarianism onto the planet. That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just about the meat. Each and every animal carries some qualities and they contributing for the earth. So, for example, if you take the honeybee, without honeybees, the pollination won't be there. If, without pollination, the fruits and vegetables, right? So each and like that, each and every animal is contributing for the Mother Earth. And there is one more book called Animal Spirit Guides by Stephen D. Farmer. So in this book, he mentioned about each and every animal characters, what they carry, how the uh, spirit guides, like each and every animal has what they are contributing for everything. So what are the qualities are those? So our Mother Earth is nothing but collective consciousness. So particularly, yeah, this whole chapter is about. I can totally relate with PSSM, patriji,
Right.
the other
Yeah.
Shakahara Jagat and Pyramid Jagat.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing up those points. Great points. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share.
Oh yeah. Happy to have that. Hey Zubia, how are you?
Hey James, I'm doing well. So
Good.
I wanted to add a little experience that I had when I had gone to Sedona. And this was like the day before the last meditation. We had a Native American person come and he played the drums for us. And he showed us how to bow to all the four sides of the earth, like connect with it and bow and played the we and I got a chance to play the drums for it. So it was very good experience. We he said things, we bowed, we played the drums, and we I sort of connected with everything there. And the next day from 4 a.m. we had like a 4 hour meditation. And during that meditation, many things happened. Like felt like we are on a journey. But um, in one of the dreams I had was that I met these Native Americans again in my dream. And they were in here, obviously, there was just one who had come to the resort where we were. But then there were four of them. And three of them were elder and they had more feathers and stuff. And they looked at me and they asked to walk with me, to walk with them, sorry, to follow. So I started following. And just before that, I had some kind of experience that a lot of gems were put inside of me. So I
Hmm.
was full of energy. So I
Hmm.
was like so excited that I can walk because I have a lot of energy. And I started to follow them. And then suddenly I couldn't walk anymore. They're walking ahead of me and I have no energy to walk. So I'm so amazed that I just had these brilliant crystals put inside of my body and I'm full of energy and I have no energy. So then I look at them and they look at me and they say, your feet are wrong. And I'm saying, what, my feet are wrong? How my feet are wrong? So see, they said the way you walk is wrong. So I'm like, I don't know how to walk. How am I standing? I look at my feet and I'm like, my feet are fine. But then they said, no, you have to walk with love.
Uh,
Every feet, every step you take on this earth, it would be of gratitude, with
mm,
love and returning the thanks because you are part of this. And this chapter really moved me because it brought back that moment that I was given this lesson in Sedona. Like, and they said that and they said you do not realize how important this earth is, that you cannot be without it for even a moment. I mean, if the earth shakes or rattles, we are like, we have no home, and
yeah.
we are without our, right, without our foundation. So
Right.
that moment of realization that your feet are wrong, it all begins with our feet. How we walk,
Hmm.
what energy we put
Hmm.
towards the earth when we come to connect with it, right? It's
Right.
not just what the food we eat, but also how we treat by walking on it, like with no arrogance, with gratitude. And
Hmm.
that is that touching moment. That is the first connection when you stand on it or walk on it. So that
Yeah.
was a big realization, and this chapter reminded me of it. So yeah, I just wanted to share that I got that when I
Yeah.
had gone there. So it was quite profound for me.
Yeah. So that's a really good point. Connecting with the earth is in an intentional, loving way is so important. Even things that you never think about, like how am I walking here? Um, I can give you an example from my own personal experience too. Like my daughter goes and plays tennis and they play for an hour and a half, and most of the parents stand. And people are wearing shoes, and shoes are insulators, and they kind of cut you off from connection to the planet. And this is something I think we don't tend to think about a lot, is that we're really isolated when we're standing there on the planet and we're not as connected as we could be. And so, one of the things I like to do for my own personal self is just to sit down on the ground. I'll actually sit down on the ground and I'll watch them play tennis. And I feel so much more connected to the earth when I'm physically sitting on the ground. And I am really pretty much almost, not usually, but almost the only person. It's usually just me or maybe me and one other person who will sit on the ground and watch the kids play. And all the other parents stand the whole time. And I think it's interesting because they're not thinking about what connection they have with the earth at all. But that's one of the reasons why I do it, is because I want to know that I have a strong connection to the earth. And I think, well, now is a great opportunity to do this because I'm here for an hour anyway. And what better chance do I have? I don't have to do anything. I can just sit down on the ground and get this great connection going between the energy of the earth and my own energy. So that's just another example of like what you could do to have a stronger connection if you wanted to. Um, Always do creative things to keep the connections as strong as you can. So. But of course, just being in nature and taking a hike is a great thing to do too. Yeah. Anybody else want to say anything? I've had moments of great connection with the earth when I was out walking in nature and felt so connected to the earth that I didn't feel like I was even exerting any energy when I was on some hikes sometimes. I felt like almost like I could be floating over the surface of the planet. Even though my feet were literally touching the ground, I didn't feel like I was doing anything. And so those are some interesting moments when, like the Pleiadians kind of said at one point in the chapter, there's this fourth dimensionality that we're many times not aware of. But once in a while, we get a glimpse of it as beauty. And this can happen to us when we're out in nature hiking. So notice these moments that seem surreal or sublime because it could be a portal into another dimension. Any other comments or anything else that you wanted to talk about? Anyone?
I think you can conclude.
All right. Well, let's conclude for today. I just want to thank everyone for coming. Great to see you all here. And of course, we'll continue this into the next chapter in 1 week from today. So we'll see you all back